Okay, testing. Oh, gotta stop looking so tired, sorry. Hello everyone. Some of you have been kind enough to comment about my Radio 4 daily service that went out this morning, which is Friday, 27th of March. Some of you didn't mention the service, but did mention the fact that I look like a giant in my spare room. I promise you, it's just the camera angles and the fact that I am very tall. But I'm in the sitting room tonight, and I just wanted to share the thoughts in that service in this way. But I do encourage you, if you're able, if you want to, do check out the link for the Radio 4 website to hear it with all its lovely music, which I'm glad to say I have nothing to do with. So the reading I was given for this service today was from Psalm 104. So I'll start with that and I'll just share a little bit of my script for the service this morning. Praise the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty. He wraps himself in light as with a garment. He stretches out the heavens like a tent. And he lays the beams of his upper chambers on their waters. He makes the clouds his chariot and rides on the wings of the wind. He makes winds his messengers, flames of fire his servants. The moon marks off the seasons. And the sun goes down. The sun knows when to go down. You bring darkness, it becomes night, and all the beasts of the forests prowl. The lions roar for their prey and seek their food from God. The sun rises and they steal away. They return and lie down in their dens. Then man goes out to his work, to his labor, until evening. I don't know about you, I was one of those children who always wanted to wow their family and friends with facts that I'd just learnt. And when I was particularly young, I remember one time when it wasn't entirely successful, I declared that the new film, Flash Gordon, had a great soundtrack which was recorded by the Queen. It had to be gently pointed out to me that Her Majesty's talents didn't stretch to rock vocals, and in fact the band was simply called Queen. But there are some facts that I do remember and have never forgotten, and our universe is full of them, infinite supply. Did you know, for example, there are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on every beach across the earth? It's astonishing, isn't it? And do you know how long it would take you to fly to the nearest star? Even if you could fly supersonic like on Concorde in those good old days, it would take you 2,500 years. It's just incredible. When we're faced by something of such immeasurably larger scale than we are, it can provoke wonder and awe, but it can also provoke fear. And there's a lot of fear around at the moment. Just last Sunday night, we were invited to light a candle, put it in our window as a symbol that we were gathering together to pray into this coronavirus pandemic. And it was wonderful to see social media light up with all these pictures of different candles in different homes. And just after that, I stepped into our back garden, and for what seemed like the first time in absolutely ages, the night was clear, it was warm, and the sky was alive with stars. And that candle and the night sky really reminded me very powerfully of that symbol of the importance of light in the darkness. It's a really powerful symbol, and it's obviously very much at the heart of our faith. One of the privileges of parenthood that I've found is sitting with our boys when they're scared of the dark. Now, don't get me wrong, bedtime is often not this idyllic, but sometimes when they're scared of the dark and you go in and you sit with them, it's interesting, isn't it? My presence doesn't change the darkness and it doesn't take it away, but they drift off to sleep because they are not alone in it. And I think that's the key. Whatever the scale of the problems, of the fears that we face, it's not about how big it is, it's about whether we face it alone, and we do not face it alone. This pandemic is certainly casting a large black cloud over us. And yes, there is fear, and yes, there is suffering. There is separation and isolation. How many of us, for example, sent our love on Mothering Sunday via the telephone line or via a distant wave at the end of a driveway? How many people's lives and livelihoods are being deeply impacted? We must never forget that. And yet there is hope in this reading. At these times when the things that we fear are on an unprecedented scale, the psalm speaks of something bigger still. And at this time of great uncertainty, the psalm speaks of things that do not change. Creation and nature in all its majestic rhythms. Sometimes it's good to feel small again. The seasons will change, the night will fall, but even it gets so dark before the dawn, the sun will surely rise. This too shall pass. And how happy the reunions, how cherished the kisses, how heavy the hugs will be when it does. But until then, we are not alone in the darkness. We must look for the stars breaking through the clouds, look for the light, look for the helpers, look for the kindnesses, look for the creativity, look for the sharing and application of talents and gifts, look for the new appreciation of things great and small. We may be overshadowed, but we are not overwhelmed. For whatever the scale of the fear that we're facing, love is bigger still. Perfect love drives out all fear. Love is undefeatable. Why? Because one day on a hill in Palestine, a young man hung on a cross, held there by love, and there drew upon himself all the forces of darkness and death and exhausted them. And the sun rose again. Okay, testing. Oh man, I've got to stop looking so tired. Don't have children.